If you're looking for professional day trading education and high level trade analysis and dissection, you've come to the right place. My name is Pat Mitchell. I have been a professional trader for the past 11 years, and I'm here to bring you exactly that high level professional day trading education, all here for free on YouTube and on X. And today we've got a few trades that we're going to go over. We're going to talk about hedging, and then we are going to talk about managing a position and when to go into management mode, which is what I call, because there is a difference between a trade and then something you need to manage to get you back green or in order to work your average. So let's get into it. Give me a second here, folks. I'm going to fire up these charts. I hope you all had a wonderful week. I certainly did. So in case you're wondering where I've been all this week, I actually had an event to do in LA. I'm back now. I did trade on Wednesday, but I did share the trades obviously with the room. I didn't have time to do a recap. It was an extremely busy week, but we'll get back on track now. And I did want to do a recap for you guys, even though I did say I was going to completely shut it down this week, but I always like to be as transparent as humanly possible on this channel and with you guys. So I'm glad you guys could join me here this evening, and let's rock and roll. So first off, let's talk about the hedge. So anytime there is a position or an opportunity to basically go both ways, to go both long and short, I take it. Now, I shouldn't say every time, but because of the situation and where we are on the daily chart, if you look at my cursor, up on the upper left-hand blue chart. That is the daily chart. So what we had here is a pretty vicious gap up on both SPY and Qs, and it's been running up quite substantially. It's just went straight up. So what we had here on SPY is this 613.23 level. We were opening below that level. So we are below support. So we need to go short into resistance. Okay, so that's that. And then on Qs, we are above support. And this support was actually pretty horny. That's a extremely valid support level. We have not only gap fill and previous close and high of day, but we also have trend. This trend level is super important. And anytime we gap up, if we pull back to test that trend, that is a masterful showing of strength. And that's what we took. That was the initial trade. That was the trade I wanted all members to take, was this long. It was a beautiful long, and we executed it flawlessly. This trade actually resulted in a 100% move from entry all the way to best sell. So that is a 100% move, all within the course of about 45 minutes total, which is phenomenal. So very straightforward, easy trade on that. And then we have SPY. So on SPY, now if you take a look, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because it might be a little bit easier to see because it was right in this area. So that's kind of how this looked at the open, right? So opens up below, pops up into the level for an execution. One sec. So here is the short, work that short, was nicely green on it. And then I still held, and I had one more ad that I was taking that final ad into resistance to correct the average because the premium was melting down quite substantially. And then ultimately I stopped out. So between the two trades on the hedge, I was plus $10. So essentially a scratch trade. That's okay. So you might be asking, well, why is that okay? You only made $10 and you did all that work. Because sometimes when we have these positions, like ultimately, even though I told you that that setup on Qs is absolutely beautiful, which it is, if you take a look at the extension, the measured move, okay, on these charts, we have what are called measured moves. And if we take a look at how much it comes up before it pulls back, how much it comes up before it pulls back, how much it comes up, especially on gap up after gap up after gap up, it's time to pull back. And this was a perfect shorting opportunity. Now, it didn't go that way until later on in the day. It ended up selling off, and that was part of a secondary short. And we'll go over that here in a minute. But on this here, technically, this should have been the trade to really hammer down on. So what I was doing in this position, now I should have been green in this position. But the issue is when we have a grinding chart like that, one of the reasons why you don't want to just immediately freak out and get out, let's say you get out here or something like that when it pops up, right where my cursor is. Well, a lot of the times what'll happen is it won't quite make it into your secondary entry, like for a reset trade, and then you're kind of fucked. So I always try and give it as much as I possibly can. I want to hold on for as long as I can in those positions to allow it time to do what it needs to do. Now, in this situation, I finally stopped out and it resulted in about a $2,000 loss. But this was a little bit better than a $2,000 win on this position. So it evens out. And I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that because why? There's always another opportunity. So let's go into that next opportunity. And this opportunity was definitely a little bit of a pain in the ass. But what we have here, one sec, let me kind of get this chart going. So when we have a move literally from low of day and it goes straight up into a valid resistance level, you can execute that short. That's this first set of entries that you see here. And then you don't see any more entries. And there's a reason for that. It's proving to be stronger than expected. And what you need to then do is allow this, and I'm going to move this here. You want to see it develop these ranges. This is why you will rarely see me, if ever, with a red day. And I know for a lot of people from the outside looking in, it looks like it's impossible or it looks like I'm full of shit. I trade with my members every single day. And today was actually a live trading day. And it's all methodology. Okay. So if you've seen, you have to also remember, I've been doing this for over a decade. And what you need to wait for are these ranges. It's not going to just immediately come up, pull back once, and push. It's not going to do that. Where you have your opportunity, you have your opportunity in between the move. So if we know it's going to come up and test and pull back and come up and pull back, there's opportunity in these pullbacks, isn't there? So what you want to do is wait for the right moment. And that's real hard for new traders to do. And I'm going to zoom in on that right moment. So that right moment is right in here when it's hovering down at lows, and on Qs, it's already broke this support. So it's proving to be weak now. So what's happening here is it's about to sell off and it doesn't happen. And it rips up straight up within one candle, almost one candle, right back into high of day. That's your opportunity to get the fuck in, because what's going to happen next is a pullback. So that is right here, right at this moment within these two candles. That's your moment. You need to act. You're not going to want to. It's going to be a very stressful situation for a lot of new traders or traders that struggle with emotion. Because I've seen this literally 1,000+ times, I know that that's my go zone, because what comes next is a pullback. Again, it looks like it's going to squeeze out and break that. It's not. This is a lot of people need to understand who their opponent and who they are up against. You're not just up against the stock market. You're up against institutional traders, and institutions will set traps. That's how they make their money. They make their money off of the dumb money. So if you know how your opponent operates, if you know your opponent is a wolf, right, then you need to learn the wolf's moves. And that's what this is. What they'll try and get you to do is freak out right in that moment. And as long as you hold your ground and instead of freaking out, you actually add right at the scariest moment. If you could do an AI search of what I just said on this channel, you would see that pop up probably 1,000 times, because it is so true. It is right at that scariest moment where every muscle and blood vessel in your body is screaming for you to exit that trade because it looks like it's going to do something. That's where you add. Where you add into that, now next will come your opportunity, and that's exactly what happened. So because I've seen this so many times, I've been doing this a long time, guys. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole when I say that. It's just that's simply the truth. I know that I have up until this area to apply pressure because when it does pull back, that's where I'm going to make my money. So inside of this really small little move, I'm still locking in over $6,000. Why? Because I've seen this 1,000 times. And I know that they're trying to freak people out in this situation to get them to clear that position. That's where I add. You will always see these ads and heavy sizing, pressure, as I like to call it, being placed into the scariest moment. And that's not just trying to correct something. That's your one chance to save this fucking trade and get back green. There's always an opportunity, guys. I've talked about this for years. Like I've been on YouTube now since I don't know 2017, and I've been saying the same things over and over and over again. I've never changed what I've said. And there are always multiple opportunities. And sometimes once that chart becomes difficult, right? And you need to, because this is no longer a trade up here. This isn't a trade. This is management. You need to flip into management mode and you need to save this position. And you're only going to get usually one real solid opportunity and you need to act on it. You cannot flinch. You cannot hesitate. If you do, it will result in a big loss. And this is where you have to nut up and you need to execute at the scariest moment. And when you do, you get fucking rewarded, man. This is why you see the level of consistency on this channel that you do. Now, for those of you that are just joining, and maybe this is the first time watching this channel, go back and look at all the recaps. Like I said at the beginning of this, I try to be as transparent as absolutely humanly possible with you guys. Now, I'm human and I'm not going to be able to be in my at my monitors in the evening and do recaps every single fucking day for free. Like I don't need to do this. I do this for you guys. So then you guys have solid quality day trading education. So if you want to learn how to do this, remember, this is just the free stuff that I'm willing to give away. Remember, I fought tooth and nail to get to where I am. I'm not going to give everything away for free. There's absolutely no fucking way I would ever do that. Nobody would do that has been through this to achieve a level of mastery. They're not going to give shit away for free, guys. They'll give lots away, and I do. So if you want to learn how to do this professionally, come to tricktrades.com. If not, like I said, there is almost 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. Go enjoy them. Just remember, no matter whose YouTube channel you are watching, you should be liking and you should be subscribing. That's only fair. And especially when it comes to day trading education, it's just going to take you longer. So if you feel like you have all the time in the world, by all means, continue on with the free stuff. And for the ones that are serious and don't have all the time in the world that want to achieve their freedom, come to tricktrades.com. Okay, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Adios.